Can I be honest? I don't think homeschooling teens feels hard because we are doing it wrong. I think it feels hard because somewhere along the way the job changes, but no one really tells us that. We go from teaching little kids to suddenly trying to manage a teenager's whole education. And it starts to feel like pressure, like we have to get everything right. But what I started realizing is maybe the goal isn't to finish everything anymore. Maybe the goal is my teen becoming someone who can handle real life? So instead of asking, did we finish the lesson? I started asking different questions. Can my daughter manage herself a bit more? Can she figure things out by herself? And can she take responsibility for something? And honestly, that shift alone started changing everything for us. So if you've been feeling that pressure too, you are not alone. I'll show you how I started making this shift step by step. One of the biggest shifts I had to make was realizing I was managing way too much. I was constantly reminding, checking up, planning everything, basically just carrying everything. And then I was wondering why my daughter wasn't taking more responsibility. I think you can relate to that too. But self-management doesn't mean they suddenly become organized overnight. We wish, right? It just starts with small things, like they begin to notice what needs to be done, and instead of waiting to be told, they do it. For us, it looked like things like handling one responsibility fully, even if it wasn't perfect. And that meant I had to step back a little, which is hard. Homeschool moms wants to control everything. And it's uncomfortable at first, but that's actually where the growth starts. So today, just step back and just watch. Where are you still holding things your teen could start learning to carry? I used to jump in way too quickly when my daughter got stuck on something. You know that moment when they say I don't get this and you immediately step in. I used to do this with maths all the time, and I saw my daughter not moving forward in maths. But then they never really learn how to figure things out on their own. And honestly, that's a skill they need way more than finishing the work perfectly. So instead of solving it for them, I started pausing. Oh, and this is hard. And just asking something like, what do you think you could try first? At first it's slow and it's sometimes frustrating, but over time you start seeing them try before even asking you. And that is a big shift. Next time when your teen gets stuck, just pause for a few seconds before stepping in. I'm still a work in progress. I tend to not pause enough, but let's see how it goes. I think one of the hardest parts of homeschooling teens is learning to trust them more. Because it feels like if we let go too much, things might fall apart. So we keep on checking up on them, we keep on reminding them, and we still control them. But responsibility doesn't grow when we hold everything together. It grows when they are given something that's actually theirs. For example, taking full responsibility for something at home, not just helping with it, but owning it. And yes, sometimes they forget, or they even mess up. But that's also part of learning to be trustworthy. So it's not about perfection, it's all about ownership. So what's one thing your teen could fully take ownership of this week? Try it, they might surprise you. I think this is something that most moms really want, but we don't always know how to build it. We want our teens to just start something on their own. But when we are managing everything, there's actually no space for that to happen. And initiative doesn't come from more reminders. It comes from gradually stepping back and letting them feel the responsibility. That moment when they start something without being told, that's capability showing up. And honestly, that matters much more than finishing a checklist. This takes time and it's a process. But if you start looking for these small shifts, you will start seeing real growth.